Hi everyone, it's another beautiful Friday. Today is AMAQ, Ask Me a Question Day. We decided to set this up for people to be able to ask questions in commemoration of National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. This is October, it's National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So today we have a question from Emma. Emma is saying, hi Miss Dorcas, my question is, how can I make a million working in tech? Thank you, Emma. Wow. This question is, I don't want to use the word funny. My team members started laughing when we saw this question, but we still have to answer it. This is I'm going to look at this question from different angles, all right? The first thing I want you to understand is, Emma, if I'm not answering your question the way you anticipate or you expect, send me another email or another message letting me know. And if you like the answers, let me know as well. All right. I don't know in which currency you want to make your millions, but I don't know if it's going to be in US dollars. I don't know if it's going to be in Canadian dollars. I don't know if it's going to be in Australian dollars, if it's going to be in Naira, if it's going to be in pound sterling, if it's going to be in euro, yen. I don't know in which currency. But since I reside and live in the United States, I'm going to be answering this question based off of the US dollar. Now, two ways by which I believe and I think I should be able to answer this question is, number one, if you want to make money in dollars, I'm not saying it's not possible. It's potentially possible, okay? The first thing you need to understand is that you can go become the CEO of a publicly traded firm. If you can be the CEO of a publicly traded firm, you can make money. You can make up to that, right? The second answer is starting your own business in a deep expertise field, not just any field. It has to be something that is in a highly skilled expertise field that is in high demand. It may not even be highly skilled expertise, but if it is in high demand, you certainly will make money, all right? So for you to be able to do that, you need to step up your game. Now, I'm going to answer this question in a third way. I sat down to think about it and I realized that actually it's possible. Let me use the word potentially possible. Why am I saying that? Because even when you start your own business, it does not necessarily mean you'll be able to make millions, all right? But we have a mentorship program. It's called Next Level Maven. And I know the tier 3 is for people that want to make millions they're already making money, but they want to step up their game and they want to make a certain amount of money. Our responsibility is to give them the frameworks. Our responsibility is to give them the resources, to give them the skills, to give them the knowledge, to give them the tools that is required to make money. But one of the things I can tell you is that even when all of them have acquired it, it's not everybody that is still going to be able to make the money, because not everyone will take advantage of the resources they have been given and run with it. All right. So what I'm saying in essence is depends on you. Now I'm going to treat this strategically, and from that vein, I want us to quickly take a look at 3 frameworks. The first framework is not mine. I learned it from one of my coaches. His name is Myron Golden. He called it the 4 levels of value. Now, the 4 levels of value, he mentioned the fact that there are 4 levels if you want to enter into what is called the space of wealth, especially when you are in business, in a career, and you want to make money, you need to operate at some certain levels. Now, he talked about the 4 levels of operation. The first levels of operation, the first one is the implementation phase. The second one is the unification phase. The third one is the communication phase, the imagination phase. I'm not going to be treating this so much. I'm just going to give you an overview. So one of the things we talked about the implementation phase is the fact that for the implementation phase, you use muscles. And it talked about the fact that the reason people in the implementation phase don't make so much money is because money is a spiritual activity. And when you connect 2 spiritual activities with each other, or when you connect when you connect a physical activity with a spiritual activity, it will never yield money. For you to successfully make money, it has to be 2 spiritual activities working together. So he talked about the fact that muscles is a physical activity, And because you are using your muscles at that point in time, what it means by muscles is the fact that you are using your handiwork, you are using your brain power, not necessarily brain power at the highest level, but you are just working, you are implementing. So at that point in time, you can't make money because all you are doing is yes ma, yes sir. Then the unification phase is the people management phase. For you to be successful in this phase, you talk about the people management phase. That means at this phase, you are managing people. You have become like a team lead, like a supervisor, like a manager. At this phase, you will be able to make more money than the implementation phase, but not as much as you could still make at other levels. Reason being that in this phase, it becomes a 50-50 thing. 50% because you are still using your muscles, and 50% because you are still using your management skills. So the management skills have become a spiritual activity where you are still using muscles, which is a physical activity. So at that point in time, you can only make 50% of the money that you should be making. Then they talk about the fourth phase, the third phase, which is the communication phase. The thing with the communication phase is that all you are doing is speaking words. And that was when he was talking about the fact that that is why people like actors, people like comedians, people like speakers are making so much of money, because all they are using is their words. They don't necessarily have to use anything else. At the same time, if you are in a career or in a space like tech, where you are in the SME, or what is called the collaboration phase of your job, which is actually the application, which is at the third phase, which is you are in a phase where all you are doing is talking to people and telling them what to do. You are using your words, okay? You are communicating more, your body communication, your words, everything. You are able to make more money. Now, the fourth phase is what is called the imagination phase, which is called ideas. At this phase, the only thing that is giving you money are your ideas. All right? Now, I'm going to have done like an overview of that, but that is because I want us to have a better understanding of what I'm going to talk about, which is my own framework. If you want to get a better understanding, like I said, I'm only going to do a quick overview of this before we go into the main thing that I wanted to teach us today. The second level is what is referred to as the levels of learning. In tech, there are 4 levels. So, if you want to get a better understanding of this framework, please go to my YouTube channel. There is a video there called Increase Your Value in the Job Market. Increase your value in the job market. I'm going to put a link to that video here so that you can get a better understanding of what I'm discussing. So there are 4 levels as well in tech. There's the acquisition phase, the fluency phase, application phase, and the mastery phase. Now, the thing with the acquisition phase is that it is your entry level phase. All you are using at that point in time is that you are absorbing. At that point in time, you have the knowledge, you have the zeal, you have the focus, you have the determination, and those are your superpowers that you are using at that point in time. Those are your tools, because it is your learning and absorbing phase. So you are not going to make as much money as somebody that is going to be at the next level, which is the fluency phase. The thing with the fluency phase is that at that point in time, you have gained enough knowledge. All right. It may not be as so much, but you are independent enough to be able to work yourself. And that is why it is referred to as the fluency phase. But the thing with that level is the fact that you are still getting instructions, you are still getting permissions, you are still working with some people. You are not able to work independently with a team because you are not regarded as knowledgeable enough to be able to give advice. All right? So that is what moves us to the third phase, which is the expert phase. Now, the thing with the expert phase is that is the application level. The thing with the application level is that at that point in time, you are referred to as a specialist. And at that point in time, you have a good understanding of what's not just your role, but what the job entails, what the duties entail, the things and the specialization in which you are working with at that point in time. You have a very good understanding of that job. Those are the kind of people that are referred to as subject matter experts, all right? They are doing collaborations because they are working with other teams, they are working with other departments, they are giving advice, they are communicating. They are using much more of their communicating skills at that point in time. Not only because they have the ability to communicate, there's a difference between your ability to communicate and understanding it enough to be able to communicate it to other people. So the good thing with these people is not just the fact that they have good communication skills. It is the fact that they understand the subject enough to be able to explain it to others and be able to tell them what to do. Now, this is going to be the last phase, the mastery phase. The mastery phase is what is referred to as management, or what is called the consultant phase. These are the people at the highest echelon of the learning value ladder. Reason being that they are not only able to communicate with understanding, they also are able to generate ideas. Okay, they are the ones that are referred to as the CISOs, the CTOs, the COOs, the CEOs, the people at the top echelon, the consultants. Reason being that they are not only telling people what they think, they are also giving them the ideas of how to move around it. Now we are going to go to what we wanted to discuss today, which the ladder I have called the levels of capability. I have called this the levels of capability. Now let me explain how this works to you. The first thing you need to understand about the levels of capability, I want you to look at the two frameworks I've explained to you initially, because I'm going to be referring to them so that you can have a good understanding. Now, the first thing I want you to understand about the levels of capability is that the first phase is the implementation phase. Now, what happens in this implementation phase? What happens in this implementation phase is that you have a good understanding of how to use the tools. You have a good understanding of how to implement the policies. You have a good understanding of how things are supposed to be working. You have a good understanding of the primary aspects of your job. It does not matter how many years you have been in that role. It does not matter how many years you have been doing that job for. It does not matter. You may be in that field for 200 years. As long as you are still in the implementation phase, where all you are doing is using muscles. You are telling people what to do, just like the implementation phase of the 4 values of learning is still on. In this phase, it's the same thing as the second phase of the 4 values of learning, which is actually the fluency phase. You are still probably in the, I won't call it the acquisition phase at this point in time. You are already in the fluency phase, but you are implementing. You are able to work with knowledge. But the truth of the matter is you may not have the ability to be able to share the knowledge with other people. Okay? You are not telling people what to do. You are still using muscle. That is what is referred to as the implementation phase. In this phase, you may even make as much as 100,000, but you may not be able to make more than a certain amount. Reason being that you are still in that phase of implementation. Now, the second phase is what is called the decision-making phase. These are the decision makers. For those that are very observant, one of the things you would have observed is that compared to every other aspect of cybersecurity, I won't call it every other aspect. There's still some aspects that make more money. But in cybersecurity, the people that usually make much more money is the people in the GRC space. And why is that? Because the people in the GRC phase are in the decision-making phase. All right, they are in the decision making. Most of them are in the decision. Even when they start at entry level, they are already in the decision making phase. Why are they in this decision making phase? Because they are telling people what to do. The thing with the decision making phase is that they are the ones that are doing risk assessment. They are the ones that are doing what is called budget allocation. They are the ones that are doing compliance and governance. These are the people that are telling others what they should be doing. Calling them decision makers does not mean they have the sole power. They just have the ability and understanding to be able to communicate with understanding to other people. Most of them are referred to as subject matter experts. Now, funny enough, there are even a lot of managers that are in the decision-making phase. They have not moved past the decision-making phase. The first thing I need you to understand is that when you are in the implementation phase, you may not be able to make more than 135,000, all right, in a year. But if you are in the decision-making phase, you may be able to make from 135 to as much as even 350. Dependent on the job title and dependent on the job responsibilities. All right, decision making phase people make more money. They make a lot of money. Now the reason is, like I said, they are using most of the time their words. Their words is what is helping them to make money at this stage. They are referred to as subject matter experts. Okay, they are the ones that are telling a lot of people. They are the ones that are speaking. Like I said, they are doing budget allocation. They are the ones that are doing training. They are the ones that are explaining why there is a risk. They are referred to as decision makers. Now, the third phase is what is called specialized. The funny thing with specialized phase is that it is like an elevated level of the decision-making phase, because a lot of specialized people are still in the decision-making phase. But the good thing with them is that their job requires a high level of expertise. And because their job requires a high level of expertise, they need to be able to communicate and be able to implement it. It is a skill that everybody needs, or it is a skill that not everybody can do. Something like forensic analysis, they make good money because it is a deep expertise skill. That is why, look at yourself. If you are working on a SOC team and then you find out you are a SOC analyst and somebody else is a forensic expert, I'll call them a forensic expert, and you are wondering, why is this person making much more money than I am? The person is making much more money than you because the person is at what is called a specialized level, whereas you are still in the implementation phase. Forget the job role, forget most of you can even have the same job title, okay, but the cadre of your capabilities are different. Now the fourth phase is what I refer to as the steering phase. Let me tell you the interesting thing with the steering phase. The interesting thing with the steering phase is that it's like the steering of a car. For those that know what is called the steering, when you are the wheel of the car driving it, they are the ones that are holding the wheel of the initiatives that run the organization. Okay, so they are the ones steering the initiatives that helps that business to be able to meet up with its objectives. So in that category, they are invariably holding on to the wheel. They are the ones making a lot of the decisions because they are not only in leadership, they are what is called strategic thinkers. The other thing you need to understand about decision makers is the fact that decision makers are strategic. They are strategic thinkers, and they are also the kind of people that can do what is called regulatory compliance. That is one of the reasons why they are making that much money. But for people in the steering phase, they are holding the wheel of the vehicle. They are holding the wheel of the car. They are making a lot of the strategic objectives. Now, let me explain how the steering phase is different from the decision-making phase to you. Decision makers are making short-term decisions, all right? Short-term decisions. The decisions that can be made and to make that thing run effectively, immediately. Those are the kind of decisions they make. But the steering phase, they are the ones that are making the long-term decisions or the long-term plans. They are the ones that are thinking strategically to be able to help the organization to operate on a longer run. Apart from the fact that decision makers are also collaborators, people at the steering level are also collaborators, but at a higher level. These are the people that are meeting with the board of directors. These are the people that are talking to people at the highest echelon and cadre. If an organization is probably going to sell to another organization, then they have to speak to someone that is on the steering level, not a decision maker, even though both of them are making decisions. All right. So one of the things that is helping someone at the steering level to be able to make much more money, these are the kind of people that are making $600,000 a year. All right, is because they are using the power of their words and the power of their ideas. Does that make sense? The reason is because they are using the power of their words and the power of their ideas, which in essence means if they are operating at the 4 levels of value that Myron Golden has given to us, they are working at the 3 levels, which is the 3rd level, which is communication, and the 4th level, which is ideation or imagination. So at that point in time, they are only solely operating at that 3rd and 4th level. They are making that much money. Now, the advisory phase. Let me explain something to you about this advisory phase. Funny enough, some people on the steering level also operate at the advisory level. But they may not be paid at the advisory level. The reason the advisory level comes in is also because the advisory level is not a part of the steering committee, no. But they are the ones that are communicating or building. They are strategic thinkers as well, but they are the ones that are giving these ideas to the steering people to be able to run the organization. So a lot of times, these are the consultants that you bring in. One of the reasons why people at the advisory level make much more money is not only because they are operating at the 3rd and 4th level. There is an invisible 5th level at which they are operating, which is the fact that they are what is called problem solvers. People don't bring in advisors except they have a problem or they need a solution. You need to understand something. People will pay so much to get a solution to what their problems are. All right. That is why the people at the advisory phase are making so much of money. So I think I have answered your question. So when I'm talking about people at the advisory phase, I'm talking of consultants. I'm talking of mostly consultants anyway, advisors, consultants, people that are calling themselves management consultants. The reason they are charging you so much is not necessarily because they are giving you ideas and they are communicating the ideas to you. It is because they are solving your problem. So if you want to make money, I need you to step up your game to the game of mastery at the level of learning, for you to be able to operate at the level of the advisory level, which is on your level of capability. That way you can actually make millions, because there is going to be a need for not only your services but your capabilities. Emma, I believe I have been able to effectively answer your questions. For any other person, I'll see you again next week, Friday. If you still have another question for me, if you need some more enlightenment on this, please send me a message. You can leave a comment down below. I will answer your questions. You can send me a DM. I will answer your questions. At the same time, you can actually send me an email at connect@dorcasakintade's.com. Until I see you again on Friday for our next Ask Me a Question session, have a beautiful day.